Saturday morning. I've eventually found some time to make a video. I've just been lazy. I'm always lazy. These things happen. I'm finding the election very boring, like I've been saying. Once you get it into your head that we're not really having an election for two different parties, but we're having an election for two different factions within the same party, you get over the thing very quickly. Today I want to speak about Labor's battery policy because it's just easier to speak about policies as they pop up. I have very strong views on batteries, especially when it comes to house storage. But let's have a look at their policy. Labor to deliver 1 million energy bill busting batteries, but when you look at the policy, that's not what it's going to produce. A re-elected Albanese government will make batteries cheaper. This is from the Labor Party's own website, by the way. I don't need to read what the Guardian or the Courier Mail, let's say, let's pick two sides of the equation, say on the matter. I can just read the press release that the Labor Party put out, but if you read this press release and then you go look at media on the subject, you'll find out that most of the media is just a repeat of the press release, meaning the media don't do any work whatsoever. So a re-elected Albanese government will make batteries cheaper, slashing energy bills for households, small business and community facilities by up to 90%. We will roll out our 2.3 billion cheaper home batteries program from 1st of July 2025, reducing the cost of a typical installed battery by 30%, with over 1 million new batteries expected by 2030. Analysis of the Department of Climate Change and Environment and Water shows a household with existing rooftop solar could save up to $1,100 off their power bill every year, and a household installing a new solar and battery system could save up to $2,300 a year, up to 90% of a typical family electricity bill. Here's the thing with Labor, and I'm telling us what our electricity bills are going to be in the future. Are you ever going to believe them again? All I got to say on that matter. Through our scheme, households will be able to purchase a typical battery with a 30% discount on installed costs, saving around $40,000. This thing's going to blow out like crazy, by the way. This is the part in the thing that's why it's going to blow out. Small business and community facilities will also be able to access a subsidy with support for up to 50 kilowatt hours of battery sized, up to 100 kilowatt hour eligible. God, that's confusing. But anyway, what that means is small business can get it too for batteries up to 100 kilowatt hours. Now, I've been looking at batteries over the last couple of days, and 100 kilowatt batteries at 415 volts range from AliExpress for $5,900. I don't think anybody's rushing out to buy one of those, to other systems that cost $250,000. But they average out about the price of this one from Able Sales, renewable energy, 100 kilowatt lithium battery, called Pack 100, Australian Safety in Design Criteria and Standards. The price for this item is $142,000. So 30% on that is roughly around $42,000, bringing this item down to $100,000. So Labor's plan isn't really a plan to put batteries on your house, because businesses that want these things are going to be a hell of a lot more efficient at filling out the government paperwork than Joe Blogg's common person. And if the government starts doling out money for those things, it's going to blow out really quickly. Now, the only other issue I have with this policy is I own my house. I'm on a disability support pension. I own my house outright. I would love to cut my power bills. My power bills are one of the reasons why I can't afford to buy new clothes. Every now and again, I really look into it, which is why I have really strong opinions on battery storage. Just found out through research that this new program that Labor does will allow me to have a lead acid battery system, but I can't afford it. What I don't like is the concept that people who can afford it are now going to get 30% off their batteries. And when I go and buy something at the shop, I'm helping support that. My other issue with this policy is because part of what I wanted to do with this video is to show the difference between lead acid battery storage and lithium battery storage. And it's been very hard information to get. Everyone pushes you towards lithium battery storage for your home. And I don't necessarily personally think that's the best way to go. But I'm really worried that Labor's about to get us all caught up in another Pink Batt scenario where the government's pushing everybody to put less lithium battery packs on the side of their weatherboard houses. Occasionally those battery packs are going to catch on fire. When they catch on fire, those fires are very high degree. They emit a lot of toxic fumes, which means the fire brigade can't get close to the fire to put it out. And who's liable for that? If the councils and the government allow people to put things like that on their house without proper fire protection, are the councils and the government liable for that? Now, I don't care if you get power walls or not on your house. I'm agnostic one way or the other. You do what you want. It's your house. What I don't like is the idea that the government might subsidise those things. Those things might become an issue, and then we're all liable for the issue that it can do. Now, some of the things I want to point out about these batteries. Urgent electrical safety call, LG Energy Systems. And there's a whole heap of LG batteries that have affected batteries may overheat and catch fire, which can result in severe property damage, serious injuries, or death. Incidents have occurred and caused damage and property and injury. This is there's over 500. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different LG models that are all the equivalent to Tesla Powerwalls, but they're made by LG. They're all being recalled. Oh, even more's loading. Um, and I see these ads on my telly, and I wonder how many people have these power walls that have no idea that these things have been recalled. Now, where to next? Now, I personally, if I had my way, I'd go lead acid batteries. Now, this was updated yesterday. It's from Solar Reviews. This is a very pro lithium battery site, by the way. And the reason I've chosen this is in the media space, you either get very, very, very anti lithium or very, very pro lithium. And I couldn't find any media space that wasn't one or the other, so I've decided to go pro lithium, but with what they say about lead acid batteries. Are lead acid batteries cheaper than lithium ion batteries? So if you're thinking about going for this government plan, if Labor win, this is also available for the grant, and it's not lithium. So when you're thinking weighing up, will I get battery storage for my house? Have a serious thought about lead acid batteries. There is no such thing as low cost battery, but there is a difference in price between these two kinds of batteries, of course. Buying lead acid batteries we described above, along with the testing and watering equipment, and the reason for that is there's very strict council regulations in relation to setting up battery storage with lead acid, and those council regulations actually protect you and the occupants of the house and also your neighbours from things going wrong. Lithium power walls and that have none of those regulations. Buying the lead acid batteries we described above, along with the testing and watering equipment, would cost around $7,500, including installation costs. Buying a power wall at current prices, that's a Tesla product, would cost around $12,850 with installation costs. Energy storage costs for the federal clean energy tax credit. The tax credit is up to 30% to the costs to install the system. After the tax credit, the lead acid battery system described above would cost $5,250, and the power wall would cost $8,400. Dividing the cost by the expected lifetimes, the lead acid costs $750 per year of service, and the power wall would cost $900 per year, or 20% more. So when you're weighing up the cost for all these things, have a serious think about lead acid. Now, there's other costs, like I'm an environmentalist, and this is one of the main reasons that I think that lead acid batteries are far greater than that. Lead acid batteries are 97% recyclable. So you start off with the battery, and it runs through battery collection, scrap metal, and then it's broken into separation. Waste is 3% sulfuric acid, sodium sulfate, used in glass, textile. The acid that I put in my swimming pool to control the pH actually comes from recycled battery acid. I make sure I buy that, as it's actually cheaper. And the casings for the batteries can be reused as plastic, which isn't exactly one of the best forms of recycling. The lead's smelted down, so you end up with back to your base lead again. So that turns back into new batteries, and it goes around and around. And lead acid batteries is a closed loop recycling It's and one of the main reasons for this is in the 1970s when the environmental movement was getting started. One of its first targets was the battery industry, especially the car battery industry, because what we used to do is just smash the batteries and empty the acid out, and they'd separate, and they'd do all that at your local wrecking yard. And there was no process for the acid, it was just tipped out on the ground. So from the 70s onwards, they worked out those things. And the last thing I want to put up with why you should get lead acid storage. One thing is you've got the space, right? Like it's so if you've got the space, why would you put such a dangerous product on the side of your house? So while solid state while solid stats are thin on the ground, what is available indicates the vast majority of LION fires do not involve home batteries at the moment. Wait until we've got thousands and thousands of them. According to this report, approximately 1 in every 100 fires attended by Fire and Rescue New South Wales involved a lithium-ion battery or device containing them. The fire service attended 171 lithium-ion incidents in 1923 and 285. That's a big increase in 12 months. But how many of those were residential storage battery fires at us? This is a very pro green energy site, by the way. It's from solarquotes.com.au. And this is to allay your fears about fires. It doesn't allay my fears when you look at the stats. But how many of those were residential battery fires? 1 in 2022. 3 in 2023. So what you could, because when these people give stats for other things, they'd like to give percentages. Let's just call that I'm not sure whether that's a 200 or a 300% increase from 1 to 3. But in 12 months, there's been at least a 200%. No, it's a free. There's not. There's a tripling. So it's a 300% doubling would be 100%, wouldn't it? So what would 200% be? Maybe it's 200%. Like I'm really bad with maths. So around 1% of these lithium-ion fires involve a home battery in 2023. Over the 2 years, the systems involved were and Solax and a Power Plus system. One was also listed as unknown, and then it also says, interestingly, there were no recalled LG batteries listed amongst them, although the Solax may have been the Solax is in that recall, by the way. And then it tells you how many. So there's 20,000 of these batteries in New South Wales. That's how many people have power walls. And the reason I'm showing you that is I really worry this thing that the Labor Party's putting up is going to turn into a Pink Batt system where instead of a couple of installers dying in Queensland, it could be families in the middle of winter. Now, the other thing that they don't tell you about lithium batteries is they're really affected by weather. Go online and look that up yourselves. But that's all I've got to say on that. I've got no qualms with people getting batteries or not. What I do have qualms with is people who are well enough off to buy batteries themselves getting subsidised to buy those batteries, yet people who don't have enough money to buy batteries can't get those batteries, therefore leaving them stuck with paying the high power bills, which are probably how the batteries are going to be paid for. So it's another instance of poor people paying for middle class people to have their middle class toys. And it's a pretty dodgy policy when you look at it like that, and it just shows you how far Labor's moved from being the working class party to being the party of the privileged snobs who really don't understand the people of Australia anymore. That's all I have to say for this video. Everybody have a good and happy day. Stay safe. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe. Goodbye.